Hello my favorite people, I don't know how this happened or anything, but now we have moved on to British Prime Ministers, and we're starting the series off with Winston Churchill. Now if you watch every single one of my videos that I post on this channel, you would know that a few videos back I was reacting to a facts video, and Winston Churchill came up, and I mistook him for an American president. Turns out he wasn't our president, he was y'all's Prime Minister. And someone was like, well, since you don't know about Winston Churchill, or really any Prime Ministers except for Boris, he's something. Basically, they were saying this is an opportunity to bring a new thing and learn and, you know, whatever. So today we're checking out the history and biography and World War II, everything that has to do with Winston Churchill and his time in office. I'm excited, let's get into it. Subscribe if you're new here, like the video, DM me a video request over on Instagram, and yeah, let's begin. Winston Churchill, rest in peace.
Hi, and welcome to Captivating History. In this video, you will discover some fascinating facts about the life of Winston Churchill. But first, let's look at what this little guy has in store for us in this video.
A Neanderthal.
Yep, you guessed it, a book on Winston Churchill from Captivating History. Feel as if your tummy is starving for more information on how to refuse to give in, deliver jaw-dropping speeches, and keep a whiskey going on.
Oh, I thought I skipped it. Right, where did the video begin?
Get into it. As a British politician who was well known for serving twice as Prime Minister for the United Kingdom, and as an infamous war organizer, leader Winston S. Churchill filled his long life with achievements and recognition plotted throughout every modern history book.
So he was a well-liked guy. Oh, I probably should not pause there. Hold on. So he's a well-liked guy because y'all elected him twice. Shouts to him.
Recognition plotted throughout every modern history book. Most famously, he led Great Britain into victory over Nazi Germany during World War II in his first run as Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He also played an essential role in negotiating peace once the war reached an unsteady end. Commonly, his name is associated as one of the Big Three, alongside United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Soviet Union leader Joseph Stalin.
Oh, this may get people triggered. Wasn't Stalin a bad guy, though? Like, the Soviet Union was communism. So, the Big Three was great for the time, but now, to my understanding, we don't like Stalin. But yeah, we had Roosevelt, y'all had Churchill. I guess just because in American history and in class and stuff, I did see his face is familiar, and I do recognize the name, so that's why I knew there was like some relation between Winston Churchill and America. But now I understand it's the Big Three. We teamed up together to stop Nazi Germany back then. Cool.
In unity, the three men helped lead the world to a resolution from the violence and terror that reigned in World War II.
God. I don't know why, but the other night I was like looking up photos from back then and like just the horrifics and learning about the experiments. How people could do that, I don't understand. I don't understand. And how people can question its like validity now and say it never happened. It's just atrocious. Anyways, back to Winston Churchill.
Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born on November 30th, 1870.
We have the same birthday! Obviously, I wasn't born in 1874, but November 30th, Sagittarius buds. Oh, wow. November 30th. I was 1998, he's 1874. November 30th, though. That's crazy. How everything always comes full circle on this channel. That's insane. Me and Winston Churchill share a birthday. Wow. I'm an icon.
At Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire, England, into the influential and aristocratic family of the Dukes of Marlborough. Churchill later moved and called Dublin, Ireland, his home from ages 2 to 6. It was here in Dublin that Churchill began the earliest stages of his education, in which his governess instructed him in those noble pursuits of history, literature, writing, and mathematics.
So he was a very cultured dude. A great not a great education, but a well-rounded education. Very nice.
Growing older, Churchill passed the age of in-home learning and moved toward boarding school. During his childhood education, Churchill maintained a poor academic record.
Boarding school isn't a thing here. You can go to private school, but your family is not just going to ship you away. I think that's more of a European thing.
From an early age, Churchill expressed a heavy interest in military history and affairs. His earliest surviving letter comprises a military scene filled with flags, castles, and toy soldiers, which Churchill particularly loved and collected.
It better be in a
He amassed an army
museum.
of around 1,500 Napoleonic-era toy soldiers, which he played with often during his self-simulated battles.
Yeah, I said it better be in a museum because that's like big history and from the 1800s. And it says Churchill Toy Soldier Collection, Churchill Museum. He has a whole museum dedicated to him. Churchill Museum and Cabinet War Rooms, London. If I ever get to come back to London, I definitely, I guess, want to check out more of the history thing. Because whenever I came, it was more so just about, like, the experience of seeing stuff. You know, the red buses, the two-tier buses, Big Ben, the Eye, all that kind of, like, stereotypical London stuff. But now, like, that I'm getting more into the culture and history and everything, I think, I don't know, maybe it'll even grow my attachment to London or England. I don't know. Y'all say I need to differentiate. I didn't go to England. I went to London. My passport says England, though.
Therefore, it was no surprise that Churchill began his military career soon after entering Harrow's School in April of 1888. While at Harrow, he told his friend Merlin Evans, "I tell you, I shall be in command of the defenses in London, in the high position I shall occupy. It will fall to me to save the capital and save the empire."
He literally spoke it into existence. So homie was like an intellectual. They said he moved to Ireland between the ages of 2 and 6. He's been an intellectual, or he was an intellectual from the very beginning. He literally saw his future and worked until it was fulfilled. That's commendable.
Churchill began his military service for real in 1895 by spending a short amount of time in the Cuban War for Independence.
Also, I know America nowadays has like some ties to Cuba, so I have that in the back of my mind, but I don't understand everything that has happened with Cuba. And they have like a... Let me not speak on it, because I know there's something serious going on there. I just need to research it a bit more. That could be another video.
After that, Churchill soon headed toward Bombay, British India, in 1896, where he served as both a soldier and a journalist on the northwest frontier. Many scholars, namely Keith Robbins and John Charley, believe that Churchill formed his own education, one unstifled by the university's restrictions and professors' personal leanings during this time in India.
So they were saying that the Indian professors, I guess, it wasn't just like standard education, it was very biased from the perspective's point of view. And Winston Churchill kind of fought against that to get his education the way he wanted it, or saw fit.
He read important works and developed his own thoughts without supervising guidance. Continuing this educational pattern, Churchill took copies of parliamentary debates from the last few generations, which he received from his mother, and noted his opinions on each issue before reading over the debates and recording his opinions again.
So shout out to his mom, but also why did she, was she a part of like I'm sure she was a noble, but was she a part of like parliament or anything higher up in England or Ireland or whatever? Why did she have these debate files? And why'd she give them to her son to read? Because he had interest in it, but I feel like that's not just something you share with everyone.
In this way, Churchill developed argumentative skills through self-learning.
Okay, that's true. That's also kind of something that we did in English class. You had to read stuff, bibliographies, make points, opinions, persuasive essays, basically. But also, I've gotten a lot of comments asking me to react to parliamentary debates and, like, motions or whatever, like the times y'all have your meetings in there. Is that something you're interested in too? Could I get canceled for it? Is it safe to react to? Let me know.
Skills that he would employ later in government positions and during his public speeches. Although he lost his first attempt to enter Parliament in 1899, Churchill's famous escape from a group of Boer soldiers during the Second Boer War tipped the scales his way during the following year. After winning the seat at Oldham in the 1900 general election, Churchill employed his great oratory skills as he traveled throughout Great Britain and the United States of America on a speaking tour. During this time, he managed to collect £10,000. Churchill gained association with a faction of the Conservative Party in Parliament.
So he was a Republican. Or, wait, quick Google. Y'all tell me, instead of asking you questions, I should just Google. Is the UK Conservative Party Republican? But also, it kind of, by me asking you guys, it also boosts engagement with me and the viewer. So, I love to research, but I also want to engage with you guys. But anyways, the Conservative Party, officially the Conservative Unionist Party, also known as, okay, so many freaking names. Are they Republican or not? political parties. How conservative? Okay, the conservatives have been in government. Okay, the Conservative Party is ideologically conservative. Okay, so it's the same over here as it is over there. So he was Republican.
Under the lead of Lord Hugh Cecil. Soon after joining governmental ranks, Churchill began transitioning from the Conservative Party to the Liberal Party.
Well, hell, I could have just watched 5 more seconds of the video and I would have found out, Favour, you stupid American. Just watch the video.
In the months before his change over to the Liberal Party,
now he's
Churchill,
Democrat,
as a proponent of free trade, helped to found the Free Food League and spoke against the principles of protectionism, arguing that to think you can make a man richer by putting on a tax is like a man thinking he can stand in a bucket and lift himself up by the handle. In 1938, when the Germans had begun inching into a controlling over its neighbors, Churchill made public his critique for Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's policy of Nazi appeasement.
To Nazi occupation of, like, the continent of Europe, all I can say is what the heck. Like, just freaking conquering everybody. Stay within your borders. I still I can't fathom the idea of still, at the 1940s, people wanting to conquer each other and get more land. At that point, weren't we all very established with our borders? Like, how can you just all of a sudden, hey, I'm in France, I want your land. How the heck did that work? How did it happen? Whatever.
Claiming that he was not doing enough to turn from the current and inevitable path. Great Britain declared war on Germany on September 3rd, 1939, and
honestly, if I were, no, I don't wish I was alive during that day, but I'm sure that was a crazy day. The day everyone just decided, you know what, we are going against Germany for this. Wild. I'm blessed that I've never had to, like, live through a war zone or wartime or anything like that. You know, I was alive during 9/11, but I was still, like, maybe 5 or 6, so I didn't fully understand what was happening. But yeah, that's one thing I'm blessed with being in America, is we've never had, like, war in America. Except for the Civil War, but, like, I wasn't even alive back then.
Churchill gained the title First Lord of the Admiralty and was given membership to the War Cabinet. In 1940, Churchill became chairman of the Military Coordinating Committee. Neville Chamberlain quickly lost popularity and confidence, and King George VI appointed Churchill as Prime Minister.
King George VI?
Popularity and confidence. And King George VI appointed Churchill as Prime Minister and Minister of Defense on May 10th.
If this is a realistic depiction of Mr. George, he was handsome. Or he maybe, I don't know if he's dead or not, but he's handsome.
On the day the phony war ended, Churchill spoke to the House of Commons on June 18, 1940, and warned that the Battle of France was over, and the Battle of Britain would soon begin. Before the period known as the Battle of Britain, Churchill said, "We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We will fight on the beaches. We will fight on the landing grounds. We will fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We will never surrender."
So he had a very good way of not only just being smart, but also connecting the people to him. Like, if I heard that speech from my prime minister or general or whatever, I would feel very, not again with this Nazi stuff, I'd feel very, what's a form of motivation? Motivated by hearing his words.
Hills.
Also, what's the House of Commons versus the House of Parliament?
We will never surrender. At every turn, Churchill reminded Great Britain that Nazism was the primary enemy, keeping the resistance alive. He curated the foundation for alliances with the Soviet Union and the United States.
But to be fair to the Germans, how do I form this without getting canceled? They didn't fully grasp what they were doing until after. Because I know that denazification, it was like they had to watch the horrors that they committed on film. In school I saw that. I've seen pictures of, like, German soldiers having to sit in, like, a theater room and watch the atrocities that they committed. So while it was happening, I don't think, I hate to even try to defend them, but they didn't actually grasp the disgustingness of what was happening. So, dang. That's slavery, imperialism, colonization. the Holocaust, just disgusting things throughout history. And it's just like, why would we ever do this to other human beings? Humanity, man. Or the lack of it, I guess.
Previously, Churchill and the United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt cultivated a relationship in the 1930s. Therefore, Churchill found aid from the United States.
Happy Pride Month.
And that they could order war goods from the U.S. on credit through the Lend-Lease Act. As the war came to a close...
Wait. America being useful, and y'all owing us for once. Wait, I need to hear that again.
30s. Therefore, Churchill found aid from the United States in that they could order war goods from the U.S. on credit through the Lend-Lease Act.
Okay, so, well, I feel like in this regard we could have just given it to them because we're fighting for the best, for the greater good. But in my mind, I was like having a fantasy about freaking Churchill and Roosevelt canoodling. Anyways, moving on.
As the war came to a close, Winston S. Churchill proposed plans for social reforms in Great Britain. But the general public did not support his ideas. Although Churchill,
y'all
of course,
turned on him.
continued to impact world affairs over the next 6 years.
Cool.
On May 23, 1945, Winston S. Churchill resigned from his position as Prime Minister.
Why?
Winston S. Churchill was not done with government, though. He was chosen as the leader for the opposition party and held the reins for 6 years. Even after he lost the election of 1950, he continued to lead his party.
Okay, so there's the Conservative Party, the Liberal Party, the Opposition Party, the Green Party, the people who wanted Brexit. I saw them in a Sidemen video doing like a little protest or something. But yeah, there's a lot of parties over there.
During a trip to the United States in 1946, Churchill delivered his Iron Curtain speech, in which he warned of the dangers imposed by the USSR and the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, so we went from being teamed up with Stalin to now calling them out as well on their BS.
In October 1951, Winston S. Churchill once again found himself within the position of Prime Minister.
Quick Google. What country? Watch the FBI come after me for my search things from these videos. What countries were a part of the Soviet Union? Okay, Russia, Ukraine, Jesus, a lot of them. Oy! Look how much land ooh! How did we defeat them? We gotta look that up, cause whoa, that's a big powerhouse. Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajik. Oh, they got Azerbaijan. Oh. Whoa. Okay, maybe we'll look at the Soviet Union next, if y'all want.
Which lasted until his resignation in April 1955.
Goodbye.
After retirement, Churchill spent most of his time at Chartwell House in Kent, or Hyde Park Gate in London. During this
had a
era
lot
of
of
his
houses.
life, he passed many of his days delving into the high society of the French Riviera. On January 15, 1965, Winston S. Churchill had a severe stroke at his London home at the age of 90, and he died on January 24, 1965.
Dang.
Often, people feel they know much about Churchill as a servant to his country from easily attained and general information. But they know little about Churchill's personal life. Churchill was a husband, a father, a painter, and a historian, among many other things.
Nice.
While he also maintains the status of a war hero and prime minister, he was much more in life. His aspirations and desires were a large part of who he was and how he attained his goals.
You think, okay, that's the end of the video. You think his kids got into politics? Are they even still alive? I would assume so, because he was just like one generation ago, so. Anyways, that was Winston Churchill. Learned a lot, had still a lot of questions. Some were answered, some were not. Let me know if you want me to check out the Soviet Union next, or anything else that I mentioned throughout the video. Bye!